have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country,
Every so often, through the course of history, a patriot rises in a time of need for truth and freedom. Unifying patriots everywhere against the evil trying to destroy America's freedom. Now, here's your host.
I guess that's my cue. You are listening to The Larry Freese Show. However, Larry Freese is off getting smarter this week, as I understand it. So who you have here, you've got Shane, you've got Scott. Scott, are you there? Can you hear me?
I'm here. I'm having to call in.
Fantastic.
I feel like the grid went down and my car broke down. So I'm walking on my way.
You're walking?
I am walking.
Are you kidding me?
I wish I were.
Oh, no, that's not good. So we won't talk about that particular sponsor that's sponsored your vehicle at this point.
Wow. No, we will not.
So
yeah, I let the vehicle overheat, and that's my fault.
Well, I don't know that it's your fault, so we won't call it your fault. But you're listening to Scott and Shane. We are the hosts of Prepper Talk Radio. Hopefully you've heard our show before. If not, hey, we're glad to be on it this time. We're going to be on today and tomorrow, filling in for Larry. And we're going to talk about all things preparedness. If you know a little bit about us, if you know a little bit about Prepper Talk Radio, then you probably know a little bit about PrepperCon. You heard our commercial coming into the just before the break, and we are PrepperCon. That's how we got into this. That's where our roots are, is in PrepperCon. We are preppers, both Scott and I. So that's what we're going to talk about today and tomorrow. Today we have several different guests that will be joining us today over the next couple of hours. And then tomorrow, we are going to be talking about, at least one segment, we have a really awesome guest, Jeff Kirkham of Ready Man, and he's been on the show before. You may have heard of him before, and he's one of our favorite guests. And we're going to be talking about 72-hour kits. That is, and has been, I think, a pretty hot topic for quite a few years and even decades now. And we're going to give you our take on 72-hour kits, what we like about them, what we don't like about them, if we actually hate them or not, because we just might very well hate 72-hour kits. But we'll get into that. So, Scott, how's your foot speed? What are you doing, about 3 or 4 miles an hour? Can you hear me, Scott? Did I lose you? Oh, I did lose him. So, you're listening to Shane and Scott here, Prepper Talk Radio, but we'll call it the Larry Freese Show. But today, as I mentioned, we are going to be talking with a couple of different companies. EcoGrow, we're going to talk about hydroponics in our second segment. We're going to talk with a company called AMP3, which is does first aid and specialty gear for the prepared citizen. And this radio show is really all about radio for the ready-minded. And hopefully you are ready-minded, and that's why we do this show, to help you to get that little spark about being prepared. And now, what's so important about being prepared, you might ask yourself? Well, it's really is a lifestyle, especially for me and for Scott. It is a way of life. It is not just preparing for any particular event, a doomsday event or anything like that. It's much more than just that. It's about living more simply, living more self-reliant, and trying to be more self-sufficient. So that's really what we're all about here at Prepper Talk Radio. We do tend to talk a little bit about the doomsday stuff occasionally, very rarely. We don't want to bring that kind of doom and gloom, because one thing about prepping is that it is very enjoyable. And that's what makes, or I should say, takes the edge off maybe all the bad news nowadays. And here on K-Talk Media, and I hate to be talking so much. Too bad that Scott's not here. We lost him on the phone line. But we want to hear from you, too. Feel free to give us a call, 801-254-5855, about whatever topic you want to talk about, regardless of what we're talking about in the moment. So prepping, as I mentioned, is really a way of life for us. It's an enjoyable way of life. It's a way to take all the stress off. And I was just talking with one of the other producers here a few minutes ago, and we were talking about how it actually is, it's fun. It's not about worry. It's not about fear. It's about making a lifestyle change and changing before maybe things force you to change. So that's what we'd like to talk about here on Prepper Talk Radio, or I should say the Larry Freese Show. So we're not much about politics. We don't really like to talk about politics as much because there's plenty of shows here on the station that talk about politics. So let me just give you a quick tip, a quick thing that we'd like to do on the show to kind of get you a little bit more warmed up as to what we'd like to talk about. For example, we talk about food storage a lot. We talk about water. We talk about emergency plans. And we're going to continue to talk about those types of things today. And my phone keeps buzzing here. Anyway, one tip I wanted to bring up is one thing you may not think about to have in your food storage that you should really have a lot of, that maybe some of you don't think about. And that one item is salt. How much salt do you have in your food storage? Now, do you just think of salt, that you're using it only for cooking? Because there are a lot more uses for salt than just for cooking. So, and if you have a use for salt, feel free to call in, 801-254-5855, and let us know what that use is. So I'm going to read off a list here of different uses that salt has in prepping. Number one, of course, seasoning food to taste, but also food preservation. Now, this obviously takes some knowledge, some getting, some practice, but food is very handy in preserving foods. Now, in a grid-down scenario when we don't have electricity, maybe don't have gas and those types of things, or ways to preserve our foods, to keep our food from going bad, is using salt, preserved meats, and so forth. So do some research, learn how to do that with salt, and then stock up on some salt. Another great way to use salt is for wound care, and that's something you may not have thought about before, but it can be used in a lot of different ways. You might think back to the movie Castaway, where Tom Hanks cut his feet or even his tooth. He soaked a rag in salt water, and that salt water helps to kill bacteria and to disinfect. So salt can be used for lots of different reasons, other than just for taste. But of course, it can be used, mix it with a little bit of baking soda, and you can use it for brushing your teeth. Salt is also an excellent cleaner. You may not have used it for cleaning before, but mix that with a little bit of baking soda, and you can actually remove rust with it. You can use it to clean your cast iron pots and pans. Now, cast iron, while I'm talking about the subject, cast iron is a great prepper tool. Cast iron pots or pans or Dutch ovens, because they really don't require very little cleaning. And they're easy to clean, and you can do that with salt. All right, it looks like maybe we've got Scott back on the line here. Let's see if he can join us here. Let's see up here. All right, so a couple other ideas here. Sore throats. That's one thing that my mom always taught us about is if you have a sore throat, what do? You mix some salt with warm water, and you gargle it. And again, it's kind of a disinfectant. It helps cure those sore throats. All right. Also, here we got Scott back on the line here. Are you there, Scott? Oh, let's try this again. Sorry about that. Are you there, Scott? Can you hear me? No, I'm not getting him there. So I'll just keep going. Again, feel free to call in with tell us your uses with salt, 801-254-5855. But, of course, to treat your sore throats. But here's a really important one that I find very effective. When you're cooking in a grid down, you don't have your grid power, you don't have your electric range, maybe you don't have gas. It is key to conserve your fuel as much as possible, whether it be you're using wood or charcoal or whatever to cook over, or propane. Adding a little bit of salt to your water will actually help it to boil faster, and that will save fuel. So very important part that maybe a lot of us didn't consider is adding that salt to water, and it will boil more quickly, saving fuel. And having that mindset in an emergency of conserving and using things as effectively as possible is, needless to say, very important to conserve your resources. We can only store so much salt. We can only store so much fuel and food, so we need to be very responsible in an emergency, keeping that, again, kind of using salt for our foods not to spoil, meats in particular. You can use it to pickle as well, pickling different types of foods, of course, including cucumbers and so forth. Some more uses for salt that I probably will never use: for scaling fish or removing pin feathers. But you never know. It may come down to the point where I'll have to be able to kill some chickens and be able to remove their feathers. And rubbing salt on the skin of both fish and fowl, birds, chickens, helps remove those smaller feathers, which, of course, we don't want to eat. Also, here's another good use for salt. You mix salt with water or salt and ice, and that lowers the temperature, so you can actually keep things cooler longer, or even potentially freeze things as well with salt and ice. And here's one I didn't know as well. Adding a pinch of salt to milk will help keep it fresh longer. So I'm going to have to try that. Another good one, as we come up on our break here, is preventing mold. To prevent mold on cheese, wrap it in cloth, dampen it with salt water, and then preferably refrigerated, but that will help keep cheese and other foods fresher longer. Let's see what else here before our last few seconds here. Deodorizer. Salt is a great deodorizer, especially for shoes. It can be used. Obviously, you'll use it as an ingredient for making soap. Using a saline solution to rinse wounds, to irrigate wounds, to rinse your nose. A lot of different uses for saline solution that way. So, and of course, melting ice and snow, that's a given. Also, it helps to keep fresh flowers fresh. Oh, we got a call here on line 3. Let's see if we have a few minutes to talk here. Let's see here. Hello there, caller, line 3. Did you have a comment or question for us?
Well, when I was a kid, we used to make ice cream we put some ice, and then, and you'd have to twirl that handle thing. It was kind of a bucket affair where it had a little canister that went down into the ice, and then you would spin the handle, and it'd spin the canister. And then you would add rock salt to it to actually drop the temperature down and make the ice cream freeze faster.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I need to get my kids, doing, is show them exactly how ice cream is actually made. So
they also used it to absorb the grease on skin heads.
Yeah, absolutely. Salt has a lot of great uses. And thanks for the car, sir. Appreciate it. I'm really sick and tired of talking here. Can't wait till Scott gets in the office. And we'll catch you guys after the break here on the Larry Freese Show.
You are listening to Larry Freese.
No matter the outcome, we have to bridge that divide, and the economy will facilitate that.
On Freedom's Voice Radio.
And welcome back to the show. All right. You're listening to Shane, and I think we've got Scott here now, too. I guess you're there, Scott?
Holy crap.
So tell us your location. Where are you at?
I'm in the middle of the apocalypse of broken down vehicles today.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry to hear that, because I'm having to talk all by myself here in the studio. How far are you at? Where are you at?
I'm walking down Redwood, and I'm somewhere between 9,000 and 9,400 south.
Oh, so you still got a good 10 blocks or so, 12 blocks.
Oh, yeah. So
all right.
What this is teaching me, and all you fun listeners who are getting to experience this debacle firsthand, is a very real scenario. I have a broken car. It happens all the time. We kind of move along in our lives and forget about it, but it happens all the time.
Yes,
and we walk to our destination. Do we have a tow truck driver set up when we need one? Those are very real scenarios and things to think about.
And can you grab a bag that you already have prepared in the back of your vehicle, and like Scott's doing, hoof it a couple of miles, or you'll probably
Heck
go a
yeah.
couple of miles. Yeah, and good shoes to walk as well.
Well, and how's your fitness level?
There you go.
I think oftentimes we forget that when things go bad, we need to be able to respond, and that requires physical effort.
Yeah, I think we've got Beth here on the other line. Are you there, Beth? Can you hear me? Oh, there's some noise. Oh, we had.
Well,
Beth
you
on the line.
should have Steve over at 511 Tactical on the phone too.
Oh, him too. Okay, at the same time.
On our VIP line.
Okay. All right. How about Steve? Are you there?
This is Steve. How's it going today, guys?
Hey, Steve. Good. How you doing?
Great.
Thanks for joining us.
Now, Steve's over at 511 Tactical down in Salt Lake City, and Steve and his team is going to be at PrepperCon, and they're also going to be part of the Prepper Fest show. We're excited to have you, Steve.
Well, thanks for having us. I think it's the perfect show for 511. Our catchphrase, always be ready. I think it kind of aligns with what you guys are doing at PrepperCon.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, I was a little bit distracted here in the studio by one of our other guests. But while Scott makes his way here, and we've got 511, I'm actually wearing your strike pant right now, and I must say it's my favorite pant ever. And I'm not even joking. I love these pants, and I would wear them every single day if I could.
That's our number one selling pant. It's absolutely my favorite, too.
All right, so we got a little bit of noise here, so I apologize to our listeners here. There's some background noise, but tell us a little bit about 511, what you guys do, maybe why it's called 511, and where you guys are at.
So basically, 511, what we do is we make tactical clothing, gloves, boots, holsters, knives, and then most of all our pants. If you ask any one of our executives, they would say we're a pant company. We make the best pants in the industry. And then also we make packs and bags for almost everything, for regular day packs to sling packs to packs for anything that you need. 511, it started way back in the 1950s. It was created by this gentleman named Royal Robbins.
I know of Royal, yes.
Yeah, great. Royal Robbins was a climber out in Modesto, California.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically
back in the
made
days of Yvon Chouinard and the origination of climbing gear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And he ran this climbing gear company for a long time. A gentleman named Dan Costa back in 1999, an FBI agent that trained out in Quantico, Virginia. He saw that a lot of the 511 pants were coming through the academy, and he decided that he wanted to buy a stake in the company. So he bought a 51% stake in the company and helped Royal Robbins grow his brand. And then 2002, he bought the entire company, and next year sold the outdoor clothing line of it back to Royal Robbins, and he retained the right of the name 511 from the original pant and called his company that. And basically 511, well, what it means is it's a climbing term of the Yosemite decimal system on how hard it is to climb a mountain.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to ask you, is that absolutely related? Because I knew Royal Robbins was involved in the initial part of the company. So, the climbing rating system basically goes from a 5.0 up to now 516, which is so insanely hard I can't even comprehend. But it's the rating of difficulty of a climb. So keep it short. I'm an old climber. I used to climb a lot. So.
Oh, excellent, yeah.
So, I love the Royal Robbins stuff. I love the Chouinard stuff, which is now Black Diamond. And, of course, now 511. So I see why I like this stuff so much, as well as the shirts and the jackets and everything else. It's like I'd spend my entire week in there buying new clothes. So tell us a little bit more about your local shop. Where are you guys located at?
So we're located at 369 West, 1830 South, Salt Lake City, right close to the Costco downtown.
Okay.
You can see our new billboard that we got up on January 1st right off the highway right there, right close to Costco.
Okay, cool. So you guys are coming to PrepperCon, is that right?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, we'll be there.
What stuff are you bringing? What kind of stuff can we expect to see there?
Oh, we're gonna bring tons of packs and bags, day packs. We're going to bring lots of flashlights. We're going to bring T-shirts, all kinds of stuff.
Very cool, very cool. Now, what kind of, are you going to have discounts there? Going to be less expensive there? I mean, what's your model? What are you doing?
We'll have a show discount on all the clothing, and then we'll be handing out VIP cards for 20% off in the store for the weekend.
Okay. Now, I know a lot of your clothing is kind of oriented toward the tactical application, right? Not necessarily climbing, although these pants of mine are comfortable enough that I could definitely climb in them. Where did that kind of orientation change from kind of the climbing atmosphere of Royal Robbins to the tactical aspect?
So Dan Acosta, he original owner of the 511 brand. He was a FBI agent, so he had a lot of friends and a lot of knew a lot of people in the industry and stuff, and he saw a need for the brand, and he created this tactical line of clothing, and just grew it from that original 511 pair of pants. As we move along with the 511 brand, our uniform shops and big box retailers and stuff, they do such a great job showing off all of our tactical clothing. We found a need to open up these 511 shops that kind of showcases all the rest of the clothing, and a lot of it has an outdoor kind of bend to it, a CrossFit, and just a kind of that everyday adventure clothing and prepper type clothing for everybody other than the military and law enforcement.
Yeah, that's true. I have noticed that, in that it's not your typical tactical type clothes where you look like you're either military or veteran, former military. So when I dress this way, I don't feel like I'm a poser. Honestly, I don't feel like I'm trying to be like a wannabe former military guy, or trying to feel like I'm bad because I'm dressing like I'm carrying weapons, or I've got grenades in my back pocket or anything like that. So that's one thing I really appreciate about the 511 brand, is that it is kind of an outdoorsy feel, but still with all the advantages built in the pockets and the arrangement of the tactical, like the outdoorsy, lots of pockets on your jeans type
exactly,
pants.
Yeah.
Which
what we see in the store, it has that it's outdoor clothing with that tactical DNA hidden in it.
Okay, yeah, I like that. That's a nice way to explain it. Now, I'm not a big fan of these cargo pants with big bulky pockets all over them. It's just, they kind of scream out, this guy's a tactical guy, right? He's carrying something. He's got weapons on him. But what I really like about this strike pant is that it does have those pockets, but they're a lot more. They're actually sewn into the pant itself and not on the outside of the pant. So it's they don't get caught on stuff. And I'm sounding way too much like an infomercial, but this is really what I love about these pants. I'm very comfortable, and I can carry a bunch of stuff in them and not feel like I'm carrying a bunch of stuff and feel like I'm all bulky and like all my pockets are completely full, if you know what I'm saying.
Exactly. So our original Tac-Lite pant, it carries all the lines and the design of the original 511 pant, and just with updated materials. So what we learned from that pant, we placed in the strike pant. Brand new material. It's called FlexTac material. It's a 4-way stretch material. Amazing stuff. And then we took all the feedback from all the bar tacking here and the pockets and all the features on the Tac-Lite, and we put it into this new pant, and it just kind of took the industry by storm. And basically the strike pant, and the strike pant with the FlexTac is kind of launched us into all of our other pants that we've made since that pant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I noticed, a few things I also really love about these pants is that they're reinforced in just the right locations. I carry a knife every day, and that's one thing we really talk about on the show is EDC, everyday carry stuff. And so on both pockets, right or left hand, you have some sewn-in reinforcement. So taking that knife in and out, with the clip wearing on the pocket. If I wore jeans, and when I wear jeans, you can tell that I carry a knife all the time because it's worn there, and you can see that it's fraying, it's starting to look bad. But on these, these are holding up extremely well because they are reinforced in just those types of areas. I've got the perfect pocket to put my little EDC flashlight in, and I'm picky about belt loops too, because I do carry concealed, and I have extra magazine on my waist, and I have some other tools as well. where the belt loops are positioned and how I carry all that is pretty important to me, because I don't like things, it tends to get pretty heavy around my waist, right, with everything I'm carrying on me. But it rides so well, they ride so nicely that I don't really think about that anymore. They're just fantastic pants, and I'll just shut up about the pants now. But they're just fantastic. What else should we look for coming into your store? What else would catch our eye walking into your store?
Our backpacks are legendary. Our Rush series of backpacks we've been doing for quite a few years, and
like the Moab
our customers
series.
love them. Say again?
You got like the Moab series, right? Of packs.
Yeah, we had the Rush series as our original. The Moab series came out shortly after that, and the Moab series is a line of single sling packs, and they allow you to carry your backpack on your back with a single sling, and the sling allows it to throw the pack around in front of you, and it has covert pockets on the front of it for any of your EDC stuff or your concealed carry pistol. And it's probably one of our number one selling packs, the Moab series.
I agree. I've got one of those as well, and the quality on these bags really is second to none. I'm a gearhead. I'm a gear nut. I'm a gear super freak, and backpacks and bags are extremely important to me. And that's one thing we're going to be talking about tomorrow in the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to talk about 72-hour kits. We're going to talk about bug-out bags, those types of things. And the platform, the bag itself, in my opinion, is really one of the most important parts about starting the right 72-hour kit, and I don't even want to call it 72-hour kit, go bag, bug-out bag, whatever you want to call it. The bag, for me, is extremely, extremely important. And these guys at 511, they make fantastic bags, so you should go check them out. Anything else you want to say? Where do you find you online?
You can find us online, www.511tactical.com, and you can see all of our products online. Also, you can see 511 Salt Lake City on Facebook. We have tons of followers. We have all kinds of things going on throughout the year on our Facebook. We have, for instance, we have Cobalt Kinetics is coming in on Friday, and we're doing things with Black Rifle Coffee, and we're doing stuff with everybody in Salt Lake. So, check us out on Facebook and just to see what's coming next from the store.
Fantastic. Thanks for your time. Sure appreciate you calling in. You're listening to Shane and Scott. I think he's still here somewhere on the Larry Freese Show. We're talking about prepping, Prepper Talk Radio, PrepperCon, all things prepping. Join us after the next break.
The big one is coming. PrepperCon is back at the Southtown Expo Center in Sandy, April 21st and 22nd. If you are concerned about the world we live in and where it's going, you have to be at PrepperCon. They'll have everything you need to prepare for natural disasters, economic collapse, EMPs, cyber attacks, and off-grid living, homesteading, and practical self-defense, including the best food storage and water systems available. Giveaways of more than $15,000 in prizes. Buy your discounted tickets today at www.preppercon.com. That's www.preppercon.com. PrepperCon is back at the Southtown Expo Center in Sandy, April 21st and 22nd. Buy your discounted tickets today at www.preppercon.com. That's www.preppercon.com.
You are listening to Freedom's Voice Radio with your host, Larry Freese.
Earlier, Larry is off getting more education, and he's off this week, and both Scott and I will be filling in today and tomorrow from 4 until 6, talking about preparedness topics, survival, PrepperCon, all that kind of stuff. We are Scott and Shane at Prepper Talk Radio. We started the show about, I guess it was fall of 2015, started as PrepperCon Radio, as kind of a compliment to PrepperCon itself, which, if you don't know about PrepperCon, you're not listening to the station enough, frankly. We've got, of course, commercials on, but the expo is next weekend, next Friday and Saturday. On Friday, I believe it starts at 11 and runs till 10 p.m., so you have plenty of time to get there after work. Lots of classes during the day. And on Saturday as well from, I believe, 9 until 8. So don't quote me on that, but I think that's right. Hey, so let's check on Scott's progress. Scott, are you still there? Can you tell me about where you're at?
Well, I'm still here. I am just a couple lights away.
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing.
And no, you can laugh all day long. That's what happens. This is life.
Yeah.
This is why we prep.
So what have you learned?
I'm getting a ride now.
What have you learned so far in your walk, in your couple-mile walk to the station?
Well, walking is so good for you, especially a good brisk pace.
And thankfully,
it takes a long time, but it does wonders for your mindset.
Yeah, I hear you. And I'm getting good practice being in here by myself as well. So thanks, Scott. I sure appreciate it. But yeah, Sean is on his way. Did he get you already? You there picking you up?
He did. What
Okay.
a good Samaritan
Awesome.
Sean is. He's amazing.
Sean's a producer here for the Larry Free Show, and he's helping us out today as well. So to tell you, I guess, get back to a little bit more about the show. We've been on since fall of 2015, and we changed our name to Prepper Talk Radio. When was it now? It's been 3-4 months, or how long has it been now, Scott? What do you think?
I think about 5-6
About
months
5-6
ago.
months now? Which I think is more appropriate, talking about Prepper Talk Radio. Not so we're not always talking about PrepperCon, although PrepperCon is the coolest thing ever. You guys really need to come. Now, we've talked to a few sponsors who will be coming this year, like 511, one of my favorite clothing companies, not just tactical clothing, but clothing. Tell us who else is coming, Scott.
Oh, man, it's a huge list. So 511 will be there. Cabela's is going to be there.
Cool.
Survival Medical is going to be there, and they're actually one of our show sponsors here at the station.
Yeah, he's actually here in the lobby. So
yeah, he'll actually be on the air with us here in just a little bit.
Yep.
So they're here, and we're excited to have them. And then we've got some other fun companies. Valley Food Storage.
Here he comes
We've got
into the studio. You made it.
I know,
Yay.
walking in.
We turn your mic up here. There you go. Now, you need to take a breath to take a breather.
Holy
there, Scott?
smokes.
How about, should I go get you some water?
I'm going to need an EMT. Good thing you're trained.
I am trained.
That was an interesting experience.
You look good.
I feel sweaty, a little winded. I jogged for a bit.
Yeah.
But it's funny because, well, more ironic, because we're always talking about preparedness. Mm-hmm. Our focus is preparedness. Our show is all about preparedness.
We drive our families crazy talking about preparedness.
Exactly. And when we're not doing the show, we're still talking preparedness with everyone we know. And so it's kind of a fun transition to see how it actually applies. You know, in this case, a broken down car. So the transmission's out. That's what the problem is.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So there's a pin that apparently is disconnected or pulled. Mm-hmm. So that's the issue. But what's funny is it's something I can't fix anyways. Right.
Not on the fly, not while you're right there.
Right. I didn't have my tools with me because it's a loaner car.
Mm-hmm.
My truck needs some work on it, so I'm not driving my truck because I pulled a giant trailer out of a snowbank, and while I was engaging the front wheel four-wheel drive, my already kind of had it axle started having some bigger issues. So I just don't want to drive that until I get it fixed, and I don't have time to get it fixed until after PrepperCon. So it's just kind of one thing after another. But that's life, right? That's how everyone is experiencing life. You've got challenges, whether it's unemployment, whether it's an actual natural disaster like the floods that we had in California this year, or it could be an actual terrorist-type situation or regime issue like in Syria, you know, the chemical warfare that's going on over there, and then the bombings that happened afterwards. I mean, then you look at the terror attacks that are happening all over Europe. We're all facing different kinds of issues. They don't have to be end of the world.
Do you dream about prepping, Scott?
Sometimes.
Last night I did. Yeah.
Actually, a few nights ago I had dreamt about my baby being born.
Oh,
so it could happen any day, which is crazy.
Oh, hopefully not during PrepperCon.
I know, definitely not
We'd
during
hate to
PrepperCon.
miss you there.
But it's funny because our whole focus here is to help people be better prepared for anything they may face. That's what we want. That's the goal.
So this little jaunt of yours is just take it as a preparation exercise. This is some practice.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's good because I don't get enough exercise anyways, and this is a really good reminder to get enough exercise.
Your fingers get lots of exercise, right?
My fingers get way too much exercise. My brain and mouth get way too much exercise, where my legs and lungs don't get enough.
Get your heart pumping.
And I think that's something we all face. You know, most of us here in America are a little bit overweight or a lot of bit overweight. You know, there's that, I don't even know what the percentage would be, but there's that big part of or that one segment that's uber fit, and they're always fit, and they're focused on certain sports and things like that. And
kind of consumes your life, though.
It can if you let it. I've got a friend that all he does is runs. But he's not in shape for anything else.
Yeah,
but running.
But that's a really important skill, though, is to be able to sprint and to run. I mean, as a prepper, that's something that I'm working on. That I've never enjoyed running. Unless it's on a mountain trail.
Oh yeah,
running on the blacktop, it just doesn't appeal to me. But it is an important skill that fitness in itself, in many different aspects, in strength as well as cardio, is really important. But I also wanted to talk about, now, Scott, I was going to ask you, since we haven't been here talking to each other, we had another sponsor here at 440. Are they?
They haven't called in, so okay. I don't know what's going on. But that's AMP3. They're probably stuck because they're in the middle of moving right now, but they're pretty awesome. They do medical training. Mm-hmm. They also have some medical kits and some other types of kits and training and tools. They're going to be at PrepperCon. They do a medical suturing class.
Okay, they're doing the suturing class. Okay.
Yeah, they're doing it Friday and Saturday, both days. It's $95 in addition to your ticket. But here's what you get. You get a suturing kit, a practice,
Now, are they using pig's feet, or are they using actual kind of the fake skin?
I think they are using the fake skin. I'm not 100% sure. They might be doing the pig's feet in class, but then they get a fake skin practice kit to take home with them.
Yeah, back in the day when I trained as an EMT, we used the pig's feet.
There you go.
So, where our producer's hand signaling us.
I don't know if he's hand signaling me or just making fun of me.
One of the two. Turn it up a little.
Turn me up.
Turn it up a little.
My volume's low, apparently.
Sounds pretty loud in my ears here, so we're just doing this on the fly. Anyway, so Prepper Talk Radio is who we are and what we're all about. Filling in for Larry Freese today. And we'd like to say we're radio for the ready-minded.
Absolutely.
And if you're not ready-minded, you probably ought to think about a little bit harder about being ready-minded.
Take a little more time and get prepared. I think one of the fun things I love about doing PrepperCon and about doing Prepper Talk Radio is our goal is to help families and communities to be better prepared. Now, if you don't know where to start, come to PrepperCon next weekend because we've got very good basic intro courses to help you get started. We've got level 1 and level 2 first aid, where you go from treating the minor basic things in level 1 into triaging, and then level 2, kind of the heavier duty things, how to triage bigger issues, like if you come across a car accident or maybe there's a pandemic. Maybe they go into a lot of those things, and so it's really cool. And those are free classes with your ticket.
And one thing I mentioned earlier on the show is that we talk a little bit about doomsday. We talk a little bit about all these kind of scary things that are going on around the world and even in our own country. But what we love about prepping is it really does take your mind off those objects. You think it would focus your thoughts more on these worries and these concerns that, you're so paranoid. How can you be a prepper because you're just constantly in fear? It's the complete opposite. It really is.
Preparedness takes away the fear. It's for anyone that's gospel oriented. Utah's a really strong population of Christian-centered people. One of the phrases I hear a lot thrown out in the different churches is, if you're prepared, you shall not fear. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of the people I talk to are like, oh man, preparedness, that's a scary topic. Mm-hmm. And that's counterintuitive to that phrase. And what I found true, and so have you, is that phrase is actually very true. Mm-hmm. If you are prepared, you've got a plan for that. You don't have to be afraid. You're not going to be afraid because you've got a plan in place. You check it every year. You practice it a few times a year. You make sure you're on top of it, and that your kids know what to do and when to do things.
And I think even for me at least, and maybe for you as well, Scott, we look forward to opportunities to not just help out, but to, like, there's someone who's like yourself, Scott, car broke down. Oh, I'm anxious to go over and pull over and help. How can I help? Because I have all this knowledge and I got to put it to use, right? So I really look forward to these opportunities to maybe go out in the wilderness to survive, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and even more than that, there's so much more. PrepperCon isn't just, hey, stockpile your food, stockpile your ammo, stockpile, it's training, right?
Skills.
It's tons of skills building, but it's also wilderness living. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite things about this year is we've got Alan Kay from Alone, Nicole Appelian from Alone, David Westcott and David
Holiday,
both are going to be there. They're all legitimately
survivalists.
Yeah. But they're wilderness living experts, legitimately. Mm-hmm. And some of the best trained people I know in that sector, and they're going to be teaching so many different classes. For example, Friday, 11:30 a.m., everyday carry and bug out bags, or as some people like to call them, 72-hour kits. What to pack, what not to pack, how to pack it, why you need it, and why the other stuff you just go buy at a store isn't the right thing for anybody.
We're going to get really into detail tomorrow in 5 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
About 72-hour kits in particular with our special guest. I don't like that word special. With our guest, Jeff Kirkham from Ready Man. He's awesome. He's a Green Beret. He was a Green Beret for 28 years. His knowledge is abounding. He's
awesome.
Fantastic guest.
A phenomenal historian as well.
Yeah, yes. He knows his stuff from beginning to end. Absolutely.
So before we run into break, let me list off some of the other classes that we're going to get from these experts. So 12:30 to 1 o'clock, we're going to get some special self-protection, unarmed hand, no weapon, knife, et cetera, training from Alan Kay. This is all Friday still. 2:30, primitive survival skills that will help you in the modern society. That's actually a 3-part class with David Holliday, Nicole Appelian, and Alan Kay.
So yeah, there's different aspects of that. There's the primitive side, which you're probably not going to make your own tools, but you're going to do it more on that primitive side rather than just maybe where you have more of the bushcraft side. So I would say primitive, then bushcraft, and then
urban.
Urban, exactly. There we go.
And then we have a 4:30 class of psychology of survival. And I think that's one of the big things that everyone forgets is you've got to really prep your mind. And if you're not used to dealing with the discomfort, it's going to be a really big rude awakening. And then those classes will repeat on Saturday. And in addition to that, we're also going to have a eating taste test contest
for eating gross things.
Like gross things, wilderness survival, gross things that most people are like, "Ew, no way." We're going to have that on stage. There's going to be prizes. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be participating in that.
You can go take pictures and video and,
I'll be doing
and then laugh at everybody. But the fun thing is David Holliday and his wife are going to be, Jill, his wife, are going to be running that. So they're going to give us a really good understanding of what's going on. Better than most. And that's the part to me that makes it exciting.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for joining us here on the Larry Freese Show. You're listening to Scott and Shane of the Prepper Talk Radio. You can catch us at PrepperTalkRadio.com as well as on Facebook. And we'll have more for you in the next hour. We'll catch you after the news break.